Uh, as we wrap up this last session, I want to go through a few more principles that can really help protect your business as we head into winter season. We're also going to do a recap on some of the things that you've learned over the last 8 weeks that you plan to implement or integrate into your business. Okay. Oftentimes we are running so fast that it takes the time to actually implement things. And so what I want is for you to come out of this with a very clear action plan, a focus on what you're going to integrate and implement in your business. Okay. So a few of these pieces that we're going to go through today. First off, does everybody know who this is? Steve Ballmer. Microsoft. Right. And this is actually a little short clip about his reaction when the iPhone was announced and how he approached the situation. So let's listen to this really quick.
$500 fully subsidized with a plan? I said, that is the most expensive phone in the world, and it doesn't appeal to business customers because it doesn't have a keyboard, which makes it not a very good email machine. Now, it may sell very well or not. We have our strategy. We've got great Windows mobile devices in the market today. You can get a Motorola Q phone now for $99. It's a very capable machine. It'll do music. It'll do internet. It'll do email. It'll do instant messaging. So I kind of look at that and I say, well, I like our strategy. I like it a lot.
All right.
Was he right on time?
Was he perfect in his perception of what he was doing and some of the
results
that he was comparing against Apple? If you look at what they had, what was the distinction? He said it doesn't have a keyboard.
Is what he thought was going to be the winning
strategy, right? And if you look at how the world is, change is not optional.
It's actually built
into the ecosystem, how this planet works. And business is no different. So business, we're on a constant path of
change and evolution. And so
we have to be willing to adapt our approach, adapt our strategies, adapt how we provide value to our consumer, to our clients.
And
one of the things that's so important is this idea of don't fall in love with the business of real estate, fall in love with
the value that your clients want to
receive. So think about the end user, your client. What are they expecting from a real estate agent today
that was different than 10 years
ago? Because that's evolved. Okay. And if we were to boil it down into very
simple terms, there's a lot to unpack
here, but I would say the simple perspective is they want somebody who's a market economist.
Somebody who actually understands
the economy, what's happening in the world, and in Utah specifically, and how that impacts their buying,
selling, or investing decisions.
Okay, so they want a market economist of choice. They want you to become that market economist of choice. They want somebody who is a wealth advisor. Now, this one's a little bit unique, but it's the perspective of
what is the
best asset class out there to invest in. I'm a little biased.
I think it's real estate.
Okay. And so do you have a strategy that's helping clients to build their real estate investment
plan?
It's another thing that consumers want today. Who's been in the business for over
10 years?
Over 15? Okay. Would any of you say that real estate investing
Has evolved as far as
just the everyday consumer, the everyday client, being more aware of real estate investing
wanting to invest in real estate compared to
15 years ago, 20 years ago? Okay. Especially with things like YouTube and social media, all of these
for people to talk about building passive
passive income, it's far more prevalent for clients to actually say, I want to do that too, today than it was 20 years ago in real estate.
So be aware of
That time has evolved, that people are more aware that they can create passive income through real estate. And so they now need a guide. They need
somebody to help them through that process.
There's a quote that says, and this is by Reinhold Nebular, and he says, change
The essence of life
You have to be willing to surrender what you are for what you could become.
So think about
The way that you've done business in the past may not be the best approach for the future. Okay, so hopefully
from this boot camp, you've
found some core principles around what you can adjust, who you can adapt into to provide the best experience possible for your clients. And the reality is that new results
only
come from new actions being taken. Okay, so a lot of the results we're going to go through today and
share some of the amazing
things that have happened over the last 8 weeks, a lot of that has just come from taking new actions or more consistent. Okay. So sometimes we have to take completely new actions, and sometimes
just we need to be more consistent.
with our actions. So let's talk about this principle. There's 2 things that you can change.
The chokehold on
Any business typically stems from either your psychology or your skill set. Okay?
the chokehold on any business
Typically comes from a lack of skill set or a limiting belief in your psychology or a way of thinking
that's actually preventing you from moving
forward. Okay? So the 2 things that you have to build into your process is consistently adapting your procedure,
upgrading your process.
processes, and then also upgrading your mindset, your belief system. Okay? And if you look at real estate specifically, we are in a
skill-based market.
market right now. Okay, we've talked about this. In 2021, I was watching this, those
Little like TikTok memes or
Instagram memes that come up. And the tagline was, it was a kid asking his dad, he's like, "Dad,
what was it like selling real estate in 2020?
21," and this is like 20 years down the road. And the dad's like crying. He's like, "It's so good. It was just great, right?"
Because
It was an easy market. And all you really had to do is have your license and you could win. But we're not in that market anymore.
and
So the question is, what skill sets are actually causing business? I think it ties back into marketing,
sales,
lead generation, kind of the foundational pieces of real estate, right? High
level of service quality on the back end.
once you actually generate the client or the lead. And so you have to lean into, well, how am I servicing clients
The highest level possible. What am I doing
to consistently top grade their experience? How many leads are coming into my pipeline consistently, or how many people am I
adding to my database?
and then what am I doing? Sales, when I speak of sales, it's really about conversations. Okay. And in this
This market conversations matter more than
ever. Because if I'm talking with a client, Julie, you're my client for a moment, and you say,
my big challenge in the market, or the
"Reason
reason
why I'm not buying right now is,"
Waiting for the interest rates to drop.
you're waiting for the interest rates
how many of you have heard
that in some fashion in the last 6 months. Look around the room. Almost everybody.
The question is,
You have 7 different ways to help that person overcome that thought process. Now, I want to say this with not necessarily caution, but just awareness of course, if it's,
not the best fit for that person,
I'm not going to navigate them through it, right? So I'm going to ask some more clarifying questions about what's important to them. Because if they're just waiting
for rates to drop, but they definitely need to
buy and they're paying a high rental rate or something like that, or maybe they're holding on to their current house, right? And we can use the equity.
strategically put them into a new home.
We can have those conversations, right? We just need to know the different routes, what options are available for this person, if it's the right timing.
Right there. Okay. And there's some
But some clients who I'd say it's probably a good idea for you to wait, okay, depending on their situation. And
so the biggest
what
thing
you want to do is find out what are the common problems or challenges that our clients are facing, and then what are the 7 to 10 different
ways that I can help them navigate
that concern. That's sales, right? It's coaching people to an end destination,
helping them get there.
even though they may see potential roadblocks.
Could we possibly throw out some specific ideas related to that one, since it's so relatable for
Yeah,
all of us? I've got
absolutely.
one.
Yeah, let's throw out some ideas. All right, what's your first?
I tell people it's a great time to buy if you can stomach the payment, because at least you're able to offer less, you're able to get more concessions. Some of the new builders got, I was able to get a client into a single-family home instead of a townhome because the prices have dropped, and there was a 5.9% locked-in interest rate with D.R. Horton and Spanish Fork. So like with new builders, there's so many concessions, and the prices are really great right now if they can stomach the payment. So that's one solution.
Awesome, thank you. What are some other solutions for
High interest rates.
affordability? Spencer?
2-1 buy downs and even 3-2-1 buy downs. Like what was said, it's a good time to negotiate with sellers. So that's been successful for me.
Awesome. And Susie, you just said that as well.
Well, again, and it's not for everybody, but like with my clients that just closed, they did a reverse mortgage purchase because he really needed to retire. And so, again, asking clarifying questions and seeing, and going to different loan options and finding somebody that's really good to work with that helps them understand the creative process of how they might be able to make it work.
Yeah. Assumable loans. Seller.
Financing.
And those are really good tactics, right? Really,
Great strategies.
sometimes too, clients need a perspective change, right? So it's good with
Strategies, but sometimes before they're even open.
strategies, they actually have to have a belief system change. And I think this is the most common when it comes to
The interest rate conversation.
is, and I know people have heard, you've kind of heard the idea of like, marry the home.
The rate or something like that. Right?
I think it's a different kind of conversation, which is the idea of, and Hunter, I'll just kind of role play it with you.
Hunter, are you open to some feedback?
Yes.
Okay. So I know, it's very common, and here's some, if you haven't read,
Exactly what to say.
okay, that'd be a great book to steal some conversation pieces from. So most people actually have this belief system
Hunter, so most people is
in that book that the interest rate is actually the most important piece when it comes to purchasing a new home. But I'll actually share some
perspective because I've actually looked at
a lot of data. Are you okay with me sharing that with you?
Yeah.
Awesome. So what's interesting is how most people, again, think
that the interest rate is the most important, but
in reality, what's actually super valuable is the actual value or price of the home that they're buying at, right? And one thing I
share with you from experience is
2021, 2020, you probably remember these stories, Hunter. Do you recall what was happening when people would make offers on homes around that timeline?
Yeah, there was multiple offers, people waiving contingencies, different
Yeah.
things like that.
Yep. And I don't know if were you guys thinking about buying back then?
Yes,
okay, interesting.
What stopped you from buying back then?
just all the competition, the craze of it all.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's actually what I've heard from a lot of people is that they kind of,
Sat on the sideline.
Right.
because they would have to offer a lot over ask for that home, right? And some people, I actually had a listing where
Somebody offered 80,000 over.
ask with removing contingencies. So it was a really unique time,
Yeah.
right? So people were actually overpaying for homes in that market.
What's interesting now is you
We
actually
have the opportunity to pay, to not have to compete for the home, right?
Yeah.
To lock in an interest rate temporarily that you can
change in 2, 3, 4,
in 5 years, right? So the benefit is you actually lock in the home that you want, but you're able to adjust the mortgage over time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm seeing.
Most people are taking advantage of is that they're not having to compete for all the homes in the market. They're able to get the home that they want, but then also
Be able to change rate.
the line. Okay. So just a conversation piece similar to that where you're going to help them understand that's the perception change. Before
They may be open to strategy.
they've got to hear that it's what they're believing is not true. Because if I were in the real conversation,
With this, I would actually bring up, well,
if you were sitting on the sideline then, guess what? A lot of people are sitting on the sideline now, and it's the same cycle. if we're never going to have the
best conditions to buy.
So let's actually have this conversation right now, because I don't want you to be in this situation 2 years down the road saying the same thing in a
Again, a market shift, that's not.
best situation. Okay. Ronald, did you have a question or thought?
Question on that specifically, because would you, in that mind shift conversation, would that be a time to bring up that if they are buying it at market price, market value right now, that even with them buying at that price and even with the interest rate, they're still going to have equity, like right out the bat almost on that home? Or would you be talking about that at all, like how the prices are going to go up and the equity in the home is going to continue to go up, but that still is now?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, that was a short snippet.
But in that conversation, I would show them.
Historical appreciation rates in Utah, which is roughly 6.5% for the last 23 years. And so I would say, hey, we may
Not get 6% this year.
but I think over the next decade, and if you guys are planning on, this isn't a short-term, solution, you're going to be here for 5, 7, 10 years,
This is what it could be.
do over that timeline. Yeah. So in that consultation, we'd go a lot deeper on those kind of pieces. Yeah. Great question.
You raising your hand, Skelly?
I'm just saying, it's great, baby. I'm the new girl in town, okay?
Oh, I did not make
That connection until now.
Your parents once loved me,
8 is great. That's awesome.
okay? So, I'm saying.
That did not.
Took in my mind until.
It's still not clicking in my mind. Trent, can you explain it to me?
75 is dead.
Date the 8. That
Could be a new slogan, actually. Date the
8.
Oh,
Okay.
interest rate.
There we go. 8 is great.
Ah, okay, okay.
My parents once loved me. My parents once loved me. You did too. You just don't know it.
Oh, that's funny. Is that in a Louis Vuitton?
Just to subsidize a little.
That's too good. Too good. So 2 things you can change: procedure, perception. This actually just applies to what we were just talking about with clients, right? This is the
tactics, the seller
financing, the rate buy downs, all these different approaches they can take, but then they also might need to change their perception
their belief system, right?
and why home ownership is such a valuable tool. And of course, that conversation is going to be different based on if it's a first-time home
Buyer versus if it's an
upgrade buyer, downsizing, whatever the situation may be. But this applies to them just like it applies to your business. Tony Schwartz says that energy, not time,
is the fundamental currency of
high performance. So this is another principle that I think is so important to lock in on as we
don't
enter into winter. We're already in winter. Okay. And for clarity with this, just realize,
that history repeats itself.
right? So this market that we're in is actually nothing to be scared of because we've seen it before
Right? Shifts
happen, they take place, and it's just like seasons. And we know, right, that after summer comes, sometimes we skip winter or skip fall. And after fall comes, and what comes
after
spring, right? So spring is coming. We just don't know when it is. Could be a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road. But
we know it's coming. And so
so most people, a lot of the fear of this time is because they're locked in thinking that winter is going to last forever, which
luckily we're not in the Antarctica.
so it's not going to happen, right? So we're okay. We just got to say, well, how do I bundle up, make sure that everything
Is nice and tight for the winter season.
is in, and maybe put on a few different layers of clothes, right, during this time, adapt, adjust, change,
It's funny, I don't see any of you.
except for Taylor. I never know with him. I don't see any of you wearing shorts, shorts and flip,
Flops. Taylor's in my-
right? So you've all adjusted already your what you're wearing for the winter season, which is interesting. So your
It's
business.
no different. Okay? It's just a different season.
So one of those pieces is your energy.
And
These are the 4 what I'll call energy domains, the 4 different areas you should look at recharging or building a regimen
or a routine
that helps you to create and sustain your own energy. Now, I've put some examples of different actions
actions you can take or habits you can
cultivate that will help you to build energy in these different zones. And what I would encourage is just to pick one
pick one or two.
from each of these categories. Okay. So physical energy, emotional energy, spiritual energy.
And mental energy.
Again, if we go back to this, I'll come back to this slide, but if we go back to this initial
Quote.
energy, not time, is the fundamental currency of high performance.
Mhm.
Okay. So one of the things about
Business is that it takes
a constant and consistent, never-ending approach to innovation and change.
that requires energy.
Okay. Change requires energy. And the question you should ask is, how would you act?
You rate yourself in each of these categories.
So if you were to say on a scale from 1 to 10, how well am I doing when it comes to my physical energy? Is it
2 p.m. in the afternoon and I'm
feeling bogged down and I'm feeling tired? Your physical energy might be out of alignment.
on a scale from 1 to 10.
And how well am I doing when it comes to my emotional state, my emotional energy?
On a scale from 1 to 10, how well am I doing
When it comes to my spiritual energy? And then on a scale from 1 to 10, how well am I doing?
comes to my mental energy?
I do believe that all 4 of those are required for this market. Okay.
And so if we're
If not optimizing our health, optimizing our energy, you're going to notice that showing up in your business. Okay. I don't know which videos this was. Can you refresh these slides and see if this video will play?
Is that the slideshow button?
Let me play it on my end and see which one it is.
Oh, it's not working. What does that say at the top? Video?
Give me 1 sec. I will. Go to YouTube really quick and just type in Kevin Hart, Never Give Up.
Oh, wow.
Sorry. Go down. It's this
I think it's the
second one in here. Yeah.
All right.
Try that one.
A lot of people can give up. It's easy to give up. It's the easiest thing in the world to do.
All right, man, I'm done.
I ain't going. I ain't gonna keep going.
Yeah,
I don't feel like going to work. It's very easy. But what's hard is going, yo, yesterday
I got nothing from work.
as hard as I could. Nothing happened from that. I'm gonna do the same thing again today, but I'm gonna try to go harder. That's the hardest thing in the world.
To get up every day.
And give 100% and be in the same position that you were each day, but mentally know
But you're trying and trying and trying.
that's a real grind. A lot of people can give up. It's easy to give up. It's the easiest thing in the world to do.
So
one of my beliefs
is that one of the challenges that stops people from succeeding in business is they're not willing to give enough value long enough
without
without.
seeing a reward in return for it.
Specifically in real estate as well.
Because we know that the buyer
Cycle is how many years roughly? 5 to 7. I know it's changed back and forth over this,
last couple of years, but
somewhere between like 5 and 10, if we want to broaden the scope, right? How many agents
how many of you are willing to
deliver value every single month for the next 60 months, even if
you
you,
don't get anything in return?
right? No, it sounds good. Yeah, I'll do that.
Doing it is a whole
Different beast. That's the challenge. Okay. Is that there's such a delayed reward,
timeline in real estate.
and that's what allows people to self-elect out. Hunter?
So Shoni, what I'm hearing you say is it takes more than just one touch a year to sell someone a house? Is that
Yeah,
what you're
usually
saying?
at least two.
Okay, at least if only someone was teaching a 36 touch class on Thursday for 2 hours on exactly how to do that.
Where's Hunter?
Oh, here I am. Come on Thursday, please. It's gonna be good. Thank you. Sorry.
I even tricked you on that one. I got you.
You got me. That's exactly what I was going for.
Here's another way
Saying effort doesn't always mean
that you'll succeed, but a lack of effort will almost always guarantee that you don't. Okay. So there is a chance that you do deliver value for 5 years straight and they choose another agent.
some of
You're like, that's happened to me? Doesn't feel great. There is the chance.
do it anyway.
Deliver value anyway. And
So
making sure that you're staying consistent with the effort required is the key. Who's watched this video or this movie?
Moneyball.
What's the foundation of the principle of Moneyball of this movie? Know your numbers. This kind of backstory is that they, and I don't recall this individual's name, the guy that he's actually playing.
Billy Bean, yeah.
Billy Bean. So this is based on a true story, and
Billy Bean, is that right?
Yeah.
so what he started, he started tracking all these data points on baseball players.
And basically
Came up with this belief system that it wasn't, you're not looking for home run hitters. Like most Major League Baseball teams are like,
I want the Barry Bonds, or I want
I want these people that can just knock it out of the park. And he started to look at something completely different and say, this is actually
could be the lead measure to
success, to building a successful team. And I believe it was the Oakland A's. Is that who he took?
Yeah.
The Oakland A's, which was
one of the worst teams in
the league, and in a very short period of time took him to one of the best. And he did it through,
a very simple measurement.
he focused on one thing, which was what? Those
On
who've
base.
watched it. On base, right?
So their on-base percentage.
OBP is what he looked for, not number of home runs per season, right? Or these other metrics.
People can measure. So is it
So how often do they just get on base? Really interesting. I think that
the principle, the
the
underlying
principle is their consistency is really what he was looking for. Okay. And I think it's so
it goes hand in hand with
real estate business is that this is actually probably the most successful metric to measure is people's consistency
consistencies with the simple actions, not
in the home runs, but just the simple activities, which is a lot of what we've been tracking over the last 8 weeks.
how many contacts am I making?
How many appointments did I go on? How many listings did I take? BBAs did I sign? How many people I put under contract?
So just the very simple,
Kind of core 5 or 6 key points help you to determine the potential success in the future.
so
Don't be looking at, well, how many closings did I have right now? Just be asking, how many activities or actions did I take
because that will always reap the reward.
you want? Or it will give you feedback. Because if you make 1,000 contacts over the next, let's call it 6 months,
And you don't get any listings,
you don't take any buyers, it's telling you the skill set, there's a gap, right? You're not having actually the right or most,
effective conversations.
either way, it's a win. Does that make sense? This quote, success is the sum of small efforts.
Repeated day in and day out.
So this is again going back with what Kevin Hart was saying as well, is that most people just are unwilling to stay consistent with the small
Actions over time.
they end up quitting and not staying consistent with those small activities. Massive goals don't require massive action. They just require consistent action. Okay.
Whatever goal you have.
Over the next year, it is achievable through consistent small actions.
Here's another
Principle that I hope, if nothing more from the boot camp, that you will take and implement into your business. Give, give, give. And now this image was, he doesn't have enough space.
on paper, but what he meant
It was put give, give, give about 10 more times, and then the ask. Okay.
and in real estate, it's give
36 times, sometimes 100 times over the next couple of years before you actually can ask.
for something in return. Okay.
Just realize in real estate, it's a little different. What are we actually asking for?
When we're doing our 36
Touch. Every time you deliver something of value, what are you really asking for? Trust. Okay.
trust, and there's actually one other piece.
It's kind of interesting. What is the ultimate goal?
Some of those vets in the room,
Room, the Dan Kennedys, the Trent Rogers, Angie. What are we doing with the
36 touch, Amber,
What are we actually trying to get?
Mind.
Somebody just said it. Mind share, top of mind. Another word for that,
his attention.
right? What you're doing is, and this is the same with social media and all these different platforms, is
Attention
is actually one of the most valuable assets out there. And you are paying
somebody for their
attention. Think of that. The value you are delivering is payment for their
attention, for their mind share.
okay? And you have to stay top of mind over time. Consistency is the key.
So if you make enough
Deposits, by the time that they're ready to do business in real estate or that they come across somebody who is, you've earned the
right at that moment,
to be able to do business with them. But if you are not giving them value consistently and paying for that attention,
you don't get to reap
reward. Okay. That saying, you've heard me say it, but it's do not underfund and overexpect.
especially in relationships.
Okay. So give until they're ready.
Do business with you.
This goes again hand in hand with that principle. Most
People are not earning the amount of money
they'd like to earn because they're not willing to give consistently enough in value. So
make sure that we've talked about this
as well, the Uncommon Bootcamp has been talking about what are the uncommon ways to create value. So either through MOFers
delivering resources up front.
or in the servicing of clients throughout the transaction as well, because that will also help you to build repeat and referral business.
Right, so think about that.
What value am I actually delivering? If your value is that you can unlock and show homes,
You're missing the ball.
that's the keyboard analogy, right? There's way much more that an agent can do,
To provide value for their clients.
and you've just got to clarify what is your value proposition? What value are you delivering to your clients? And then communicate that effectively. Who's seen this? Little pep talk from Kid President. We're going to watch this, and then we are going to get into our final kind of recap of the 8-week boot camp
And kind of crystallize some of these ideas.
ideas that we've been talking about the last 8 weeks.
I think we all need a pep talk. The world needs to stop being boring. Yeah, you. Boring is easy. Everybody can be boring, but you're gooder than that. Life is not a game. Well, life isn't a cereal either. Well, it is a cereal. And if life is a game, are we on the same team? I mean, really, right? I'm on your team. Be on my team. This is life, people. You got air coming through your nose. You got heartbeat. That means it's time to do something. A poem. Two roads diverged in the woods. And I took the road with really bad rocks, thorns, and glass. My buttons broke. Not cool, Robert Frost. But what if there were more too fast? I won't be the one that leads to awesome. It's like that dude dreaming said, don't stop believing unless you dream stupid. Then you should be a better dreamer. I think that's how it goes. Be a better dreamer and keep going. Keep going, keep going, and keep going. What Michael Jordan have quit? No, he did quit. No, he retired. Yeah, yes, he retired. But before that, in high school, what if he quit when he didn't make the team? He would have never made Space Jam. And I love Space Jam. What will be your Space Jam? What will you create will make the world awesome? Nothing if you keep sitting there. That's what I'm talking to you today. This is your time. This is my time. It's our time. We can make every day better for each other. But if we're all on the same team, let's start acting like it. We got work to do. We can cry about it, or we can dance about it. We were made to be awesome. Let's get out there. I don't know everything. I'm just a kid. But I do know this. Because everybody's good to give the world and reason to thanks. So get to it. You just did pep talk. Create something that will make the world awesome. Rainbow.
So
We talked about a lot.
lots of principles the last 8 weeks, right? And what we try to do is package. Again, if we go back to that, things that cause change, perception is one of the greatest catalysts for change.
And what
What I want to do is just spend some time getting very clear about the top principles that you're going to go integrate into your business, and then
also the action items. What are the actual
tangible steps you're going to take to get the results that you want in fourth quarter and obviously
kicking off quarter one of 2020?
So I will put the screen back on in a moment as just kind of a reminder of some of those principles that we've talked about.
What I'm going to do is put a QR
Code on, and it's going to ask you some questions about some of the things that you've really learned. What I want you to do
is use the questions.
obviously type out the answers, but then also just pick one question and write it on this sheet as well that you all have.
So on the very bottom, or on the right-hand
Side, it should say ahas. So just write out the biggest aha that you've had over the last 8 weeks. And at the very bottom,
your action plan.
one of the actions you're going to take as we wrap up the boot camp. Okay. So Hunter's going
Throw some music on for us. I'll put this
to
QR
throw our code on, and then once we get everybody's scan this, we'll bring it back to that other slide as kind of a way to just spark some thoughts.
So go ahead
It can take about 7 minutes to go through this process. So simple, few questions on that form. If it doesn't work for anybody, just raise your hand. I'll come around and send it to you as well. So ahas or an action item that you're going to commit to. And what I will say, if you're throwing your action item out in front of this group, you're much higher and likely to hit that achievement by making a public statement of it. So feel free to raise your hand and share those too.
Tanner.
I have been trying to start it for 8 weeks now, and I finally have. I've been starting the Miracle Mornings. So, it's, just bad habits had set in, lack of good habits. And so I'm just putting it out there. I have my tracker, my 30 days for my Miracle Mornings. I want to offer value for the rest of the day. So
That's great. Love it. Miracle Morning, home run. Who else? Big aha or action item? Heather.
It's perfect.
8 is great. I just have to keep plugging 8. Okay, so what I found was that if I just got my head in the game, like at the beginning of the week, like every Sunday, and I just said, this week I'm going to find a listing, I'm going to find a buyer, and I'm going to put somebody under contract. I did it consistently. And so I just need to kind of manifest that and just kind of be open to it. But the way I approached it was not about me. It was, hey, I know there are people that need help. And there's somebody that needs help listing their house. And I think if you go about it with that like space in your head of, I'm here to help someone and I'm going to bless their life in some way, then that's when it shows up for you. And so for me, it wasn't really about money or anything. It was like tracking and really being open to help somebody else.
That's great.
What about this money in here?
And you all get bills.
That's awesome. A few more. Susie.
Oh, perfect. Of course you did, Susie. You're lucky I like you.
So mine's just slightly different with work. I've noticed like family time has gone away. And so I've intentionally set aside every day for family hour at a time just to get back into life and happy and able to go work.
Yeah, that's great. Just raise your hand.
So I was only at probably 3 or 4 of the boot camps. So the thing that has stood out to me is every night, I don't know, I just struggle with a schedule big time because I'm all over the place. I do too many things. And so I'm thinking if at night I could just write out a plan for the next day, because whenever I've thought of the whole week, it's like I feel like a failure every time. So if I every single night could just like make a plan for the next day, but also get into the office more often, I think that would make a big difference. And I guess the aha was what you said today, and reading that where it said to deliver value for 12 months to 60 months without getting anything in return. And that would like totally shift my mindset, because we were just talking about here, I'm like a little kid that just wants to eat the marshmallow, that test. It's like, I just want it now, if it doesn't come. I don't know. I just need to have like a bigger perspective of the goals down the road. So.
Patient persistence. It's a great skill set to develop. Let's get one more. Got 2 more. So Trent and James.
For me, one of the things that I've loved about our focus has just been creating value and how important it is for us to continually innovate and find ways to create more value for our database and our clients.
Yeah. Innovation in business. Take this one. Innovation in business can be one of your greatest strategic advantages. Really can. James.
I think the biggest thing for me is just simplifying the process. I think sometimes we get so complicated, and it is simple in nature, like 36 touches, calling clients, it's a simple action. But when you look at your whole database, you look at everyone you're servicing, it can be very overwhelming. So I've been really kind of even just breaking down my day. And I think what's really helped me is just looking at the MOFers and then shaping my day and have different focuses, and then being a little more intentional about sticking to them and not going off course, or if I miss something, I need to go back and do that.
Yeah.
So you don't miss any of the steps, because that's where you start dropping clients or you stop dropping the ball.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, totally. One thing with that I'll highlight, I hope, so the way that we built this boot camp was a lot of theory, right? A lot of theoretical ideas, a lot of like ways of believing or thinking, right? Perception. And not, we obviously got into some specific tactics, but as you can tell, we haven't focused on the tactics every single week. That's by design. We didn't know that. And the reason why is because there's a very simple formula to success and to get anything that you want in life, which is to be, what's next? Do, have, and what I'll say is give. Okay. The doing, like, it's actually not rocket science in real estate. It's like you actually do a very few simple
activities consistently and
results will come. The challenge is we're always looking for, well, what else? Like, what's new? What's different? What I'd encourage you is to
say, who do I need to be?
what value do I need to provide, the do, to have the results that I want. Okay?
So we focused a lot on the who do you
To be in this market, which is a very different person than who you needed to be in the last market. Okay? So I want that to just
really see then.
what I'll point towards, if you'll go back to the Bootcamp dashboard, we're going to keep this dashboard up because what should happen is if you get the B right,
You'll say, well, what
activities can I do consistently? And that's where you'll want to come back to this dashboard, go to the lead generation strategies. And as
as far as the doing, well, how do I provide value?
consistently, go down to the very bottom and just use these templates over time. So what I would suggest is just pick one,
They're going to do consistently.
okay? 1 to 3 very max. Don't try to do everything. Just pick the ones that you're going to do consistently. We
Just added some, you'll do the
golden letter template. It's right above the first time home buyer red on the right.
Where's my mouse? There we go.
And then click on the template. So this is a letter that you can
mail to your database.
and give them a market update. Just say, this is what's happening in the market. Here's how many homes have sold. This is our median price
in the market.
Right? Here's some of the important factors around interest rates. And does anybody catch the MOFR if you'll scroll down?
What's the motor?
Very simple. Okay. Give value, make an offer. Right? And then
That should lead them to your, you have to
set up your own QR code on the back end. But you can literally take this whole letter and adapt it, change it. Or-
You can send them money. That's fine.
That's fine. I'll buy you coffee, okay, as an exchange, fair trade. The other one is
If you go to the bottom left, is
your mobile app. Click on that one. How many of you currently use this as a MOFR for your client? Okay. If you use the app 3 years ago, it's not the same as it was today, or it is today. This is a really great resource to send, and it's customized to you. Each agent has their own app,
so when they do log in,
and every home they click on shows your face. So I highly encourage using that as a MOFR as well,
so a lot of these you can stack as well.
on top of each other. Dean?
Yeah, just a real quick one too. We have officially 4 MLS in the state of Utah. Cedar City doesn't count, but it counts. But your mobile app has all of the listings from all of the MLSs in the state. So you actually have a better tool.
In the
It's across the
country.
country as well.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if you're really selling in the state of Utah, and so you can give this app to anybody across the country because it's going to be of value to them.
Yep. St. George, anywhere. You just text it to them.
And if they share it, they share your
Yes. Go back into it.
Yeah.
So we did put some videos on here, make it very easy so you can understand it. And
This one is more for the,
for you to understand like the value the clients are getting. If you click on that for just like 15 seconds, turn it up a little bit.
so,
So this actually showcases to you the value that it provides to your clients. You can actually send this value in an email form.
to your clients as well if you wanted to.
But they could search for homes anywhere in the country, and it has your process, your buying and selling guide.
That are customizable on this as well.
If you'll stop that and just go down a little bit. These videos show you how to set it up. So they're 7 to 8 minute videos, very quick.
But it will show you how to make sure you
Have your own personal link. And it's actually on the KW Command app now as well. You can just literally go hit share link, and it shares your personal, which is really convenient. The nice thing as well is every single home that they click on, it tracks it on command.
so you can actually go through and
In command, there's a filter where you can say recently active clients, and it'll show you everybody who's been looking at homes. It'll show you what folder
they saved it into. They're like,
my next home or my next investment property. You'll see that on the back end. They don't know that, but it's important for you to track that information, right?
so you can see who's recently active.
Good. So those are some MOFRs that we've added recently. If you go back to the slides. Hey, in closing,
Let's go over some of the results from Bootcamp.
some pretty big numbers here. 24 million, 24.6
6 million under contracts.
volume. That's for residential, 48 million for, should say commercial.
Spencer, congrats on that big one.
59 new under contracts, 158 listings taken. Half of those done by one person. 51 BBAs signed as well. Some big results in 8 weeks. So give them a hand, everybody who contributed to this.
I was supposed to say commercial.
So for the prize winners, drum roll, please.
All right. Number of
Under contracts was Heather and Julie. Stole the cake on that one. So congratulations, give them a hand. And then number of new listings taken, Angie with, it's not a typo, 94 listings. And Bart Anthony and Brittany Frank with 9. Give them a hand as well. It's really quick. Heather and Angie, I want you to share just some of the things that have happened for your business the last 8 weeks.
and just some of the cool
Things that have happened.
So I actually am hoping I can talk about a MOFR that I have for our agents. I think it's going to be really cool because we just barely signed these communities. And everybody was asking like, hey, I want to get involved in the seminars. Can I go to your seminars? Can I see them? And so we've crafted and created a way that we're going to be in a 55 and older community. We're actually going to be having the seminars at the clubhouse, and you, the agents here, can invite your clients for free to our seminars, and then they will tour our community. And we're going to be offering that for free for you guys to use to be able to get into relationship with the older demographic of your database. I'm so excited about it. So super, super fun. So stay tuned because that'll be our MOFR that we can give to you guys that you guys can offer to your clients for free.
So really quick, you said on one of these, this is 94, 90 of those came from
90 of those are 2 different communities that are 55 plus communities, and they're actually so cool, you guys. They're not normal 55. So there is in Mapleton, I've got 14 there, and then we have another 76, I think, in Saratoga Springs. And they're just, it's such a cool project that I think is going to change the way people are doing like living. And maybe it's just, I'm so excited and a little bit nervous about it. But they're townhouses, they're fourplexes, and inside the fourplex, they have service corridor. And that service corridor accesses all 4 units that are in there. And what that is that allows home health care to come in and provide service so people can age in place. After that, if they can't stay in their home anymore, they have an assisted living community on site that they are building that they can transition into that and stay with their friends. And all of that, and inside the clubhouse, they have a space that they're able to have an on-site doctor's office that can prescribe the home health care. And if you guys do anything with seniors, you realize this is important because when the doctor prescribes home health care, then Medicare will pay for it. And so they can come in and have meals provided, cleaning done, things taken care of for them. It's so cool. Like, it's not just a normal, like, it's a way that we can actually provide huge service to other people. So we'll be doing a decluttering seminar. We're going to be doing senior living options where we'll actually have other communities come in and teach about different senior living options. And it's so cool. I'm so excited about it. Mapleton and Saratoga Springs. Yeah, and it's really central in Saratoga Springs. It's like right behind, I think, the Walmart.
I just want you to stay for a second. So one thing I want you to highlight
this whole course.
been about being uncommon, right? They already had a listing agent, and they noticed some very simple differences, right, with
How you're going to do business for them. compared
to what that other agent was providing value-wise. Can you just highlight one of those things that you feel like helped you to not only
capture their attention, capture that client.
for them to feel the trust and confidence that you were going to do the best service for them?
So one of the books that we have read that's probably on your list, I had read it with you, was Selling in a Crisis. So if you guys have not read Selling in a Crisis, it totally changed my mindset because when we went to interview with the builder on it, they did interview several people, and I think I went in, like originally I went with other builders, and you want to go and be like, I'm going to do this and this and this. And instead, that one of the chapters in that book talked about
how in a crisis, what your client needs is for you to understand their needs the most. So I went into the first appointment with zero expectation of like, I just need to understand your product, what it is, what you're doing. I didn't understand it up to that point, but really gather as much information that I went to work on that. How can we be the best service to them and be different? And so I actually would love our agents to be the ones that sell the second half. So if we have 90 to sell, that means there's 90 other sides that we're going to be able to pay agents on, which even if it's not even the agents, this is the cool part that I'm so excited for our brokerage, because you guys now will have something that you can then get into relationship with your database. And that, like if your database is 50s and 60s, that's perfect because it's their parents that are looking. But you have, I'm just so excited about that. So
Give her a hand.
Thank you.
Congrats, Angie. Heather,
Okay.
this is 8 rate.
Yes.
8 is great. Look, right
8 is
there.
great.
8. Yes, again. I'm the new girl in town just in time for Christmas. Okay. Just get to know me a little bit. You'll like me, I promise. Anyway, like I said, your parents once loved me too. So anyway, I would say as far as for new contracts, like going under contract.
Yeah, I mean, there's some big things that have happened in your business the last 8
Actually,
weeks.
yeah, I actually just helped another one too. And it was interesting that Bronson's not in here, is he? But I was just thinking of how to like resolve kind of a need with even like one of his listings. And I found the in-between person. And I said, hey, I think I know the buyer for one of your listings, even though I'm not the agent. But anyway, I just tried to like be helpful. And my fourth quarter traditionally is actually one of my best quarters, almost always. And it's actually better than summer. And I think it's because I really target people that I know need to have like a tax write-off, people that are investors. So like fourth quarter, I don't target the same people that would move traditionally in the summer, like families. They're not the ones that are, buying. So it's like people that just got married, and Julie helped me out with this, and like we found somebody that was, getting married. And then we said, hey, you could house hack to help with the payment. And so they got really excited and they bought, and then that way they have renters.
These mofers.
And so, and right now I'd say my 3 client bases are divorces. That sounds really bad, but divorces because they've got to move. I have several divorce clients right now, and you can just be so helpful. And I've also tried to help in other ways. I have divorcing, relocating, also referrals. I think that's the other thing, is just reach out to other people in other states. I've done more referrals this year, like both ways, than I ever have in any other year. And then, like I said, investors and people that have inherited money, as far as like our parent died and then they're wondering what to do with their money because they're like, I don't want to pay all this in taxes. So one of my clients just got them on my new build so that they'll have, they'll be able to put it in townhomes.
One thing I want to highlight, both Heather and Angie, is I believe a lot of their success actually comes from how well they do at solving problems. Everything that she just mentioned, in every single scenario, she solves a need or a problem that client has. Right? Relocation, there's a problem. I have to move for work. With divorce, with people who are looking for investment properties, I need to spend this much before this date for tax purposes. Right? So think about these. The first-time home buyer, there's even a problem there, right? With the rental situation, like their rent is astronomical compared to what it was 3 years ago. Okay, so just think about the same thing Angie pointed out was she went into that conversation. I'm not going to tell them on why I'm the best. I'm going to find out what their problem is, then I'm going to solve it.
Yeah,
that's what people want.
And I think that's the big key is that like just something I try not to do is actually ever really look at what I'm being paid. I just don't really look at the other end of it.
But you do okay.
I do okay, I think. I don't know, but this summer was a little bit rough. But also, my head wasn't in the game. I think summer, it was just kind of a weird summer, and so, but it was like as soon as I got back in, and I thought, okay, who can I help? And I think that's the biggest question is just who can I help right now? Because there are people that are confused with the market. They need to understand why right now is a great time. And I think my clients are also really happy because I've been able to resolve some of their concerns. I mean, it is a great time. We can get lower pricing like we talked about. And so anyway, and some of my clients, I'd say quite a few are cash that have, because they have inherited money, or maybe it's a divorce settlement or different things like that. That's awesome. So resolve people's problems.
Yes.
And 8 is not so bad. Just saying. Okay. Great. And loves you lots. So.
I mean, based off of Heather's Halloween costume, you can tell she's sold on that belief system, right? Now, do you think clients also believe that? Yes, it transfers right over, okay? Some additional awards, top consistency. Stand up if you are here in the room. So these are the individuals that were most consistent with showing up. Give them a hand. And then we have the uncommon achievers. Give them a hand as well. These are the people who went above and beyond on the homework. So these were the people that knocked it out of the park with staying consistent on their homework, and they also committed to the higher level of homework, right, which is 50 contacts a week versus the 25. And it's been cool, actually, if you look at the data around some of the results that are happening in their business, there's a direct correlation. So the one thing that I encourage everybody out of this is stay consistent with what we've talked about the last 8 weeks. Just do the consistent routine day in and day out. It's going to be monotonous, that's fine, but that's why you're going to have an energy plan to help you keep momentum, but stay consistent with the activities and you will get the result on the other side. Thank you all for participating in this. We really appreciate your time. That's one of the, again, things I showed at the beginning is that I know your time's valuable, so thank you for showing up consistently. And we will do this sometime next year. We haven't found a date yet, but we'll do it sometime. Yeah, thank you all, and we'll see you in team meeting in a few minutes.
Thank you, Shoni.
Last slide. What's next? We actually do have more. I was joking. You guys thought I was done. There's always more, right? Planning clinic, I'll start with, is going to be next Wednesday or Friday. You don't have to, November, not October. So Angie is on November 15th, and both of them will be the same classes. We're just hosting them on 2 different days in case people can't make one day work. So both of them are good November. Yep. So November 15th and November 17th. Okay. And 9 a.m. to 11:30. That's where we're going to get very for 2024 on your business. And we're going to come out with some tools, a GPS, a 411, goals or results that you want in your business for 2024. The retreat is this Friday. This is something that Johnny created last year. He's been doing this for about 15 years now, in some format of setting goals. And then I think the retreat they've been doing for 10 or 11. That's where we're going to go deep on all 7 areas of life. So we're actually going to help you set goals and clarify goals in the 7 different areas. That is, there's a cost to that one. That one's a $99 investment. It does have a very nice manual that comes with it that you'll use to achieve your goals. And then also lunch is included, snacks for that session. That is 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. This here. Yep, it's going to be here. We do have limited seats for that experience. So if you're going to come, please register Bootcamp email today. So on that, we'll have the link to register for all these resources. Okay. So either if you're going to come planning clinic, both of them, the details will be on that email. Okay. Any questions?